introduce you to Brian Keel and to our team, or to our core team here. I'm Jennifer Bonifant, and will be leading the session. But Brian, you want to say a couple of words about Keel and how long we've been supporting customers, and a little bit more about your background too?
Sure. My name is Brian Keel. I think I've met a couple of folks here on the call with us. Keel and Company, we've been in business as a partners for the last 18 years. And I think most of us prior to that have been in the channel for maybe 20 or 20 plus years. So we're really excited to have Jennifer as part of our team, kind of leading some of our BC endeavors. Jennifer was working with us as a customer for years, and then as a kind of a partner supporter product manager for one of the third parties on the BC side. So we're excited for Jennifer. Larry is on the call, it looks like, with us as well. Larry is a Microsoft refugee, was part of the Microsoft team on the Dynamics side for 22 years before joining Keel and Company. So Jennifer, I know you're excited about kind of diving into the product and getting through the rest of these slides. So I'm going to hand it off to you and be going.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah, so just a little bit more about me. I'm the newest member to Brian's team. I implemented Business Central. Earlier, it was called Navision in 1999, making me one of the earliest adopters. I implemented it at the University of Virginia, where we grew the operation about 400%. And in doing that, became very familiar with the product and helped to add features and functionality to it, and then went on to build products for nonprofits. When Brian asked me to join, I was super excited because of the experience and true experience in financial operations that he and the team had. They've actually worked in operations, they've been in organizations and supported bank recs and all the normal business operations that happen. And so being able to deliver and work with customers to solve their problems is really why I joined Keel. So now, as we kind of transition and talk about why Business Central is the modern solution that Microsoft is investing in to really carry us forward with AI and also with modern capabilities. So Business Central is part of the Microsoft platform. It is fully incorporates with Teams, Outlook, those tools that you already are using. It's built on Microsoft Azure. So those of you not familiar with Azure, that's Microsoft's cloud. It has all of the redundancy and the modern capabilities that a modern cloud would have. It also supports Copilot. And so we're going to look a little bit at Copilot. Copilot is automation. Doesn't mean GPT chat. It can do that, but it also can add a lot of value to our users, automating processes and allowing us to process information more fluidly. Business Central also supports our users' mobility. We know a lot of people don't want to come into work all the time. They're not always going into the office. They're not always at their desk at a workstation. So being able to get information, make decisions rapidly, Business Central is going to enable that because of the structure and the platform that it's built on. Many of our customers are coming from Great Plains. Great Plains has been a great solution. It's been the kind of gold standard across many operations for a very long time. As we look forward to Business Central takes that same concept and really builds on it and becomes a central feature or functionality for operations, bringing different pieces together, whether that's fixed assets, purchasing, your cash management, sales and marketing, dealing with and addressing your customer needs, connecting with your CRMs, managing inventory, and then just managing your overall financial operations in terms of reporting. So you can see there's a lot of features and functionality. We're going to take a look at some of that today. There's no way we can cover all this in 45 minutes, or I can even dive into some of that. But being able to understand the breadth that comes with licensing, All of these features come with base licensing. There's two types of licensing. There's a premium and an essential. The only difference there on that licensing is a premium includes manufacturing. So if you aren't involved in manufacturing, you don't need that. And so it becomes a very affordable way for organizations to move to the cloud and to gather all these features and functionality. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but I can't say it enough. Having the Microsoft Office tools that we're using in every day adds significant value to Business Central. The features work seamlessly, whether that's Power BI, Excel, Outlook, Teams, even Copilot. So Microsoft has extended these core features, whether it's Outlook or Excel. You have apps that you can add. Those apps can read who the customer is and bring data straight into Business Central, so you don't even have to touch it. Really, really seamless, very cool. As users post sales invoices, they can automatically generate an invoice that's customized, that's in Word, that has color, that has notes, et cetera, and it will automatically email across Outlook, whether it's to a shared email or to the individual's email. You have total control over those things. There's no mystery either in Business Central. It's all page and menu driven. So gives us a lot of functionality, much broader than what we think about debits and credits. I'm an accountant. I love debits and credits, but I also know there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need to support our teams and make that easy for them so they can be efficient. Microsoft is allowing us to be mobile. When you're a Business Central user, you get the mobile app. The mobile app is free. It recognizes you. So Larry goes on to his mobile app. It knows that it's Larry. He's authenticated. He can go and make decisions on those workflows. He can approve that purchase request that I submitted. He can approve my expense report or time or whatever is appropriate and assigned to him as an approval user. So he can also go on to that mobile app and check balances. What's my cash balance? What was the transaction? Maybe he's meeting with a customer or a vendor. He can look to see what those last transactions are to add value to that conversation while he's out on the road. So a lot of portability there, all kind of protected and underneath that Azure and Microsoft authentication. It knows who you are and it's tracking you on your different devices, enabling you to access that information fluidly so you can go about your day's work. That ends my slide presentation. We're going to talk about, we're going to go launch the application at this point. But one thing I do before we jump on to that, Microsoft is profile and user based. Every profile is going to be different. We're going to design and work with you to make sure that your users have the profiles that's appropriate for them, that they only see those transactions and those areas within the system they need. And Business Central is also going to give us permissions and security filters. So not only do they not see it, they can't get to it. And if there's only segments of the data or portions of the data we want them to see, we can control that as well. So again, it's giving us full control over that user experience, but it's giving it to us in a very clear, clean way that supports our audit and is menu driven. So there's no mystery. I don't have to hire a developer. I don't need as many customizations as what we would have needed or what we are used to in the past in similar solutions. So with that, I'm going to change gears here. We're going to go look at the live product. And here we are. We're in Business Central. I'm logged in to a URL. It knows me. This is the same user that I'm logging into to do Outlook or email. Now over here, you're going to see I'm on my browser. If you're not using the new browser, you might want to update it. It's really cool. You can have your tabs running down the side. I just kind of pull that out as just a highlight mention to add value to your time today. But you'll also see that I have Copilot engaged over here. So Copilot's going to be able to come over here and ask questions. Who's Brian Keel? It's going to respond. It will give me his picture and a description of Brian and his role at Keel and Company. So a lot of just functionality kind of wrapped right around this Business Central because I'm on that Microsoft platform and live. You're going to see here, I have a sandbox. This is our practice area. We get 3 of those. So we're always able to continuously train, improve, practice, try new features and functionality out so that we don't get stale and that we can leverage our investments in Business Central, and also so we can empower our users to really become more efficient. Now, we're looking here as a business manager. I have a bunch of different things highlighted here on this homepage, giving me quick access to those features and functionality that I need. Now, if you're currently on Great Plains, you're going to notice something different. These are all picked. I don't have big long lists of menus. I don't have step 1 to step 12 to step 4. I'm going to highlight those features that I can get to. This experience is going to be the same experience I have on a mobile phone. So gives me a lot of very quick access to those areas that are meaningful to me. Now, we're going to start right at the top, and we're going to talk about how Microsoft is connected to all those different apps. I'm going to show you those, and we're going to start to layer in the functionality related to chart of accounts, right? We're going to start at home base with our general ledger, chart of accounts, debits, and credits. It's the foundation of all operations and all transactions as they happen in Business Central. You no longer have subledgers or transactions or blocking or locking that happens because they're always going to be kept in sync. So let's take a look at some of these pieces. Right here at the top, you're going to see Copilot. I don't understand something, or I want to quickly find out who is my, who was the last sales order, or show the latest one. It's going to be able to come in and pull it. If I ask, what was the last purchase invoice posted, right? Or what was the last check written, or whatever it may be. Copilot's going to be able to go out, read across my data. It's not looking out. It's not leaving my tenant. It's staying within my portion of the sandbox. It's controlling the information that's being controlled, and it's going out and it's scanning the records to go pull that purchase invoice. It's going to return that information and give me that information. If I were to say, hey, what's my largest vendor? What's budget to actual? It's going to go out and pull that information in real time. Clearly, this is a sample database, and I haven't posted anything for a while, so it's taking a little bit longer. We'll let that just kind of go to the side, but know that Copilot is sitting around on top. I don't have to run reports. Business Central is going to give me the information that I need, and it's going to come in either list pages or documents and historical data. So this is a list page. This is my live chart of accounts right here. I don't have to go run a report to see my trial balance. It's going to give it to me in real time. I can select the fields that I want to show. I can select the column order as well. So here you're just seeing some information that I have filtered specific to this account or to this environment. I can scroll down. You can see that I have a number of accounts. And just like with my vendors or customers, I can come in and I can add financial and non-financial information to those, enhancing my reporting, enhancing my visibility of understanding what these accounts are doing, and also just making it really clear. So when we set up workflow or business rules, we can have real clear definitions of what that looks like. So here is a business card that's supporting my GL account. Cards are standard here in Business Central. They give us that access to create actions, to label and list reports, as well as to build out other additional pieces of functionality. So here within this chart of accounts, you can see I can build out business intelligence. And from my chart of accounts setup, I just created my balance sheet. I also have created my indirect cash flow for my audit. So I don't have to guess what or how reports are coming together. I have total control over that, how these accounts are going to be grouped, how they're going to be presented, and I can add features and functionalities to show it at a high level or to roll down and see it at a more detailed level. I'm going to go back here and we're going to take a look at that integration, right? So on every list page, I can easily send that out to Excel. That's going to give us that information that I'm looking at on the page, whether it's filtered or in total. I'm going to get a formatted table, and it's easily going to, when I hit that, it's going to easily generate that report. It's going to drop it in. I'm going to have a very similar experience, and it's going to come over and open up my chart of accounts. Very easy, right? Now I'm using a tool that I used and have used for many, many years, and I'm familiar with this, and I can go and do other tasks that may be needed at that time. I just did that, right? I can also come over, I can share this with teams. So let's say I'm looking at a trial balance account and I'm like, whoa, that cash seems really low or really high. Maybe I need to share that information with Brian, who's also on my team and in my environment. Brian doesn't even have to be licensed in Business Central. I can send in the information and the view of information that I'm seeing in real time. I can ask my question. We can collaborate on that using our team's license. So I'm getting the most value out of my Microsoft here right in real time as I'm evaluating, analyzing, and doing my daily job. I can also copy this link. I'm not giving access to Business Central here. I'm actually just sharing information across licensed members in my team. I can't share that link with people outside of my Keel company environment, but I can collaborate further with my teams. That idea of information being portable, flexible, real time, really, I want to just drive that home. And that's one of those things I want you to remember after this conference or after this webinar is, it is very versatile and you do have total control over how information is shared and being able to collaborate in real time across your teams. Okay, so that's our chart of accounts, but this is just the general ledger accounts, the piece of it that tells us, hey, this is a balance sheet or an income statement account. That what, right? Like that, what is it? What is it? Is it a balance sheet account? Is it a cash account? Is it a revenue account? But Microsoft has given us this idea or concept of dimensions. That's where we can add the who. That's where we can track the location, the department, the granular information that organizations need for your budgets to be able to track assets, to be able to be and manage your operations. These are flexible. You can have these. These can be whatever you want them to be. You have up to 8. You can set business rules around them. You can set workflow around them, and you can have them very specific so you have consistent posting across your different transaction type. Again, more flexibility in how we set up the environments and be able to control them, but also it's visible, right? There's no mystery here. But if I come over here and let's say I want to look at a department, I can go to dimension values. This dimension value is going to give me that list. From here, I can add attributes. Maybe in program, maybe I have 3 or 4 different programs. That's okay. But maybe I want to have an attribute of program being community facing or internal program or education program, right? And I can add attributes that add additional reporting value to the chart that my users don't have to necessarily code. It just follows the different segments here within our dimensions, adding more value to our business intelligence and our use of the tool that we, as we engage across transactions. I'm going to come back. We've talked a little bit about that chart of accounts. We've talked a little bit about how our interactions are. I've also talked about that user experience and being able to define what people are seeing and where they are going to. I think before we go down too far into functional experience, I just want to show you a user card. I'm going to pick on Lincoln. Lincoln is our fabulous intern, and you can see here he has specific rules and permissions by company. Now, what does that mean? That means that Lincoln can come in and do something in this company, but maybe not the second company that's available. Now, companies are a key term in Business Central. You can have up to 300 unique companies. We can set those up. You can easily transfer between companies and easily have many companies open all at one time, seeing those transactions move back and forth. But here, the idea that I want to share with you is that Lincoln has specific responsibilities to each company. We're going to assign permissions at the company level to each user. And then we're going to be able to determine which profile he gets when he goes into that user. So it gives us a lot of visibility into what Lincoln can do and into control over our users, creating that control environment that's so critical to good success, as well as to successful audits. So those users are going to also be shared across our different 365. We can group them together to be more efficient and have visibility across our Microsoft tools of what we're enabling that user to do. Okay, so we've got the core covered. We've got our base, we've got a chart of accounts, we've got dimensions telling us all kinds of good business intelligence and information. We've got users that have access and users that are already familiar with those tools in Microsoft. Okay, we're ready to do some transactions and look at functionality. I'm going to come back to my home base here, and I'm going to take a look at the queues. So this becomes a new area for us, right? These queues create that modern user experience, giving us a way to go and get to the transactions quickly. In my environment, I see I have 3 quotes that are sitting out there. I have 23 open invoices. I have an unprocessed payment. Maybe that needs my action. And you can see here, I've got a little bit of a highlight bar giving me that prompt to tell me, hey, something here may need your attention as a business manager. As I roll down, I can also see those approvals. If I'm Larry, I may only show these 2 boxes because I don't really care about what's outstanding in payments. It's not my area, right? But I may need to know what approvals have been sent to me for approval. I can click on that and it would open up those approval transactions pending my approval. Or if I wanted to, I can quickly go in and look at a sales invoice. And here's the list of those 23. And I know in good confidence that those are the things that need review and they're filtered to that 23 that I've seen. So as a user, I'm getting this really modern user experience that's helping to drive and keep me focused in the day of what needs my attention here. Okay, so that's all great. Now it's time for me to come over and maybe look at some entries. Maybe I need to do some analysis, a little bit deeper digging on what's happening. We have tools for that too. So we looked at those chart of accounts and we saw a real-time trial balance. One of the unique aspects of Business Central is all transactions post to one core table, the general ledger entry table. If it's posted in somewhere across Business Central, it's going to end up here and it's going to give us a lot of information. Now, why is that important? It's because it's your information and you own it. We're going to be able to filter and control what people see. But at the end of the day, this makes us very portable. It makes our information portable and makes it easy for us to share that information and own it. It also makes it easier for our auditors to come in and track the transactions that have happened in a period. So this is a big list. There's a lot of stuff going on in this organization. Holy cow. What am I supposed to do with this? I could go out and remember my experience, send this whole list out to Excel. I could come in and filter it. I could come in and store that filter of stuff that I'm used to always seeing. You can see here I've got some stored views that I just did my own self. I did not need a developer. I didn't need a consultant to help me. I know that I always want to see transaction related to sales, and boom, I've got that stored and saved. But I need to go that next level. I need to see, maybe I need to see accounts by department. So I've created analysis that I'm able to store and come back in and look at information. So let's say this is GL accounts by department code or analysis by GL account number. And so here I'm grouping transactions by GL account number. And underneath that, I'm nesting my different departments. And from there, I can get to those transactions. Now, this is really good information. This is bingo, exactly what I need to see. I can go highlight it, right click, copy, drop it right into Excel using those same keystrokes that I'm used to using. I didn't have to learn anything. That experience is going to be the same across the entire solution. If I don't like that idea, I can come over and create a new analysis. I can tell Copilot, hey, I need to see all transactions that Kelly posted. It would create an analysis specific to the text that or the prompt that I write with Copilot, making this much more automated. As we move forward, Business Central gets improved in two major waves a year. Now, why am I pulling that up now? That's just kind of crazy. This analysis mode that I'm showing is a great example of continuous investment and improvement in Business Central and in your operation as a licensed account holder or Business Central licensed user. In 2023, Microsoft introduces this analysis mode. I'm like, wow, this is great. I no longer have to build a clunky report or copy paste or have pivot tables or blah, blah, blah. I loved it. I was super excited. Great. They added some more improvements. I can now come over. I can share my analysis with Brian if I want. I can set this up. I can do all kinds of new features right from my environment. That comes out in April, wave 2 or wave 1. And this fall, they continue to build on this concept, and they've connected over 70 new Power BIs being driven off of this same type of data model that was introduced last year in the improvements. So that's a lot of talking, but the point here is they rolled out a new feature, they improved it, and they continue to add and make investments in that, improving Business Central, adding more value as we move along, more automation, more reporting, more analysis, more investment in you, our end users. So I'll come back off of this. There's a lot there I could talk about for certain, and how we can get to our data without running reports, getting it in real time. We can store those views, come back to it, making our jobs much, much easier. But if I did that, I would run out of time, and I wouldn't get to show you some of the other features and concepts around Business Central. So let's go look at a couple of those concepts. Number one, our general ledger. We just looked at that general ledger entries. I actually wanted to look at a general journal, and I have that over here. I've already got a bookmark because I know that's where I want to go. And you can see here, standard, nothing fancy here. This is just rows. But the concept that I want to show you is our general journals are connected. From here, I can impact a lot of my subledgers, whether it's a vendor, a customer. I can make a fixed asset entry. I can also post an entry in a related company. All very fluid, using the skill sets of one area to impact other areas across the environment. I have the chance to store environments, create recurring journal entries. I can renumber, I can reconcile. I've got a lot of functionality here across my general journals. If I want to I could also come in, just a little bit more of that same idea. I could select, use functions and keystrokes that I'm used to. Control C is all that I'm doing. I just copy those 4 rows. I could copy that out into Excel. Very easy. Control C, Control V works in Business Central, just like in Excel and other Microsoft products. I could send that copy. I could do all the same features that we've looked at just to make it easier. I could also edit in Excel this journal entry, add, copy, paste, use my Excel skills, and bring that journal entry back in for posting. So a lot of functionality here, just at our fingertips with a general journal. There's lots of journals, and that carries across all areas within and across Business Central. But we know we have customers that are going to be needing to be invoiced and vendor payments to be processed. So let's go and look at a couple of key concepts here. So a customer is going to be a card, just like we looked at in a general ledger. We're going to have financial, non-financial information on it. We're going to be able to store how we want to interact with that customer, what kind of reports we want, what that should be, and what that should look like at customer groups, and all the way down to the individual customer level. So as we do that, we're going to go pick out this School of Fine Art. And here we can come over and see a card. This looks pretty standard, I think. But when we come over, we're going to open that up and we're going to expand, and we can now add a customer picture. We now have a graphic dashboard of what we've done in terms of number and volume of transactions related to that customer. We have statistical information. By the way, this is all hyperlinked back down into the source documents. Not real sure, like what's going on here with this vendor. We can come in, we can see what those assigned are, additional information. But I'm curious here about, what are we doing? What's going on with these overdue amounts? All of this is hyperlinked. I can see the outstanding invoices. And one of the things I wanted to show is when I go drill down, I'm going to see all related transactions, not just the open invoice here in Business Central. This is so huge, I guess, in a user's day. I can see what entry was posted. Oh, there was 9 lines of entry. I can go back to the original source document. I can see the ledger entries. I can see the value entries. I can see the entries that were posted against inventory. So let's just go and kind of show you that, because I could say all those things and you'd be like, okay, well, that doesn't do me a drop of good, Jen. Um, Here's that posted invoice card. I can come back. I can see who posted it, who approved it, when it was shipped, when the package was tracked, the tracking details, all kinds of information related to that. If I wanted to see what that guest green chair looks like, I can do that right here. Real cool, right? And it just makes us hyper connected across the data. I don't have to go around my elbow to get to my thumb to see what that green chair looks like. It's all super connected here in Business Central, leveraging the cloud experience, and giving our users a very connected sense of activity to their transactions. So that's an idea of a customer card, but let's go look and see how we can transfer that knowledge to a vendor. And one of the things that I think has always helped, especially when I was actually an accountant using this and training up my teams or my new members of my teams as our organization was growing, is that being able to take what I've known and leverage it. So look what happens here when I come up to this first up consultants. I'm going to get that same idea of a card. Now, there might be some little bit different information. That's okay. This is the same concept as a customer. I don't have to learn anything new. If I can process a sales invoice, I can process a payable. If I come over here and look at that information, I'm going to get that same guy's picture. I can come in, I can drill down. I get that same consistent user experience. Now, why does that matter? It helps me to adopt Business Central faster. I'm going to be able to leverage the tools faster. I'm supporting my team. And now my teams become more unified and they have a unified experience across there. So, okay, this is great. I've got a vendor. Maybe I want to process something. Great. I can come in. I can have lots of options here in terms of how I'm going to deal or interact with that vendor. I can create a purchase order. That purchase order can be approved. It can be matched. I can do sales quotes. I can do purchase quotes, etc. I can pull all those pieces into a final purchase invoice. And by the way, that purchase invoice is going to look just like the sales invoice. You got it. I'm going to have information on the header. For those of you using Great Plains, I don't have to go to a different screen. My lines and detail are all on the same page. I'm going to be able to see that. It's going to highlight those required fields. I can get lots of different information. I can send it to a different address. I can capture that 1099 information, all that features functionality that you expect to have. I can also come over here, and this is more of that integration, right? That full Microsoft experience. I can come over here and attach and see my incoming document files. Now, you may ask, what's an incoming document? An incoming document is anything that's coming in from an OCR reader, coming in through my Outlook, my Business Central app in Outlook, or that I'm bringing in. So let me just give you show you what that means. I can bring in documents here. I can nest them into transactions, but I also can send them directly into Business Central to be read and to add value. And when I do that, by the way, I can map that to the journal entry. I can create a journal entry and I can track it and create a library right here on the fly. So if I were to do this on the fly, I could come over, create manually. I could create and add that to a journal, a sales invoice, purchase document, tracking and being able to bring live data right into the solution. So a lot of functionality, I can do that and add that information. When I drag and drop, I have an experience that looks very familiar. Here's my invoice from this particular vendor where they added, and I can come back and get to this information very easily using that same experience that we've seen all along the way. So incoming documents is one of the newer features. It's been around in the product for a few years now. It adds a lot of value, and it's enabling more automation across our different transaction sets. Okay, that's great. We've paid people. We've received money. We've posted a bunch of journal entries and managed our expenses and managed our operations. But what about those bank accounts is one of those areas, treasury management is one of those areas when Microsoft started to migrate to Business Central and really brought that forward. They spent a lot of time on bank accounts and bank reconciliations and that treasury management functionality. We saw that up front with the mapping of our cash flow statement. Again, this should look familiar. This is a bank card. It's telling us financial, non-financial information, is giving us access to information or transactions related to that, making it easy for us to take what we know about processing an invoice right on into this bank. But there's some magic here on this card. And it is all in these areas down here. So in the past, you used to have a developer to go around your elbow to get to your thumb to make things work, to be able to import in transactions, etc. Now we have that control and that power. We can determine our bank segment layouts. We can have different types of imports for different types of transactions across our different banks. We're no longer just stuck consuming information. We can have information and we can decide what the format should be for positive pay, for importing and payments. We can schedule and import our transactions happening in real time. And oh, by the way, we can have a statement service to bring in those as they process across the U.S. Treasury or your own bank. I can also come in here and create a bank reconciliation, and that's where we start to see some more automation. So if I come over here and I go to bank reconciliation, I can say, hey, I'm going to look at this. And this is an area where we first see Copilot. I'm going to go open a new bank rec, and it's going to have an ability for me to pull in my bank account statement, formatted already to fit the bank. I don't have to do the cut, paste, assemble, shuffle. I can already go ahead and pull that in. It's going to pull those transactions in. It's going to automate and pull in my bank ledger entries in real time. And then it's also going to come in and it's going to say, hey, what's your balance? What's your bank? Here are the transactions. I'm going to pull that bank statement in and I can reconcile with Copilot. And what Copilot is going to do, it's going to read our date. It's going to read the description. It's going to read the amount. It's going to automatically match it. It's going to give us a chance to review those matches, make sure that those are accurate. It's going to do math for it. It will actually read and combine multiple bank account ledgers to match up to that total that appeared or posted to your bank, making that process much easier, much more less labor intensive, and giving us that first pass at a bank reconciliation. We can do the same on payments. So there's a feature called payment reconciliation, and you notice I'm just using the search. I'm going to come over here to payment reconciliation, and we have this thing called payment journals. I'm going to show you this. I think this is super cool. I can actually pull in transactions happening in real time from my bank. Maybe those are deposits coming into me, or maybe it's coming into my lockbox. I'm going to match that up to customers, to those open, and Copilot is going to know that that customer has an open invoice, and it's going to match it based on amounts, based on the description, and based on the date. So it's going to read that information and automatically post that payment that was received in the bank to the open invoice here, based on the criteria that we have set up. So again, just more options and opportunity to leverage Microsoft, leverage automation, and bring that into our operations across Business Central. So now I've got just a few minutes. I have a couple of key concepts I want to show you that's built into Business Central, and then we're going to wrap it up. The first one is fixed assets. Fixed assets are fully integrated across payables and your general ledger. We can come over and we can see a Mercedes. This happens to be Brian's car that he used to drive around in college. I'm guessing on the color, but maybe I'm wrong. So we've got a card here. We can determine depreciation methods, start and date, book value. We can come in, manage warranty information, maintenance information. And then Microsoft gives us extensions so that we can extend our fixed asset management to include handhelds, barcodes, be able to move transactions across, have main components, be able to, I've leveraged this a lot in my time on Business Central, be able to have construction and process projects and then go and convert into main assets or components. So a lot of feature functionality here within fixed assets. It's already included in licensing, nothing else to buy. And we can extend the functionality with what they're calling apps. Microsoft has thousands of apps out there. Some are not all the same. So this is where Keel and Company can bring and knows what these do for you. But there's a lot of them out here. You can add these right into your environment. They extend the fields and tables, options, and actions available to you right in your Business Central environment. Many of these are free. Many of them are even published by Microsoft. Just further adding value to your use of Business Central right here on the fly. These are easy to manage and they add a lot of value. And the value here for fixed assets are those handheld devices, but there's a lot of different apps out there available at our use. The other area that's included in licensing, standard licensing, is project management. I love this for a number of different reasons, but I'll show you one and then we'll talk about it and then we'll pull the plug and go about to our day. But if I come over here and I look at this, I can set a budget unique to a project. I can have it assigned to dimensions and general ledger accounts. I can define that budget. That budget doesn't have to be in my fiscal year. It can be, doesn't have to be. I can find a project manager. I can come in and do all kinds of different transactions, monitor that over here on the right, attach attachments, all that same functionality we've already covered. Notice, say, the user experience is going to be very similar. But the value that a project here now adds is it's hyper connected across all those different transactions. In addition to setting a budget and capturing actual costs coded to that job, I can now bill that out to a customer. It's going to assemble all of those different costs, all of those different purchases, and I'm going to be able to process and progress bill out related to that project. I love that for a number of different kinds of tasks and projects. I can add inventory, I can assign resources. I think it gives our customers a lot of great functionality. And again, it's going to replicate that same user experience where I'm going to be able to come in, I can send this out. Notice this is all the same type of rhythm happening just in a different way. This here on this billable, I could go ahead and generate that sales invoice, post to that customer, make that available, email that customer a formatted Outlook email with a Word document attached. Again, leveraging all those tools that we're used to using in our day-to-day life, pulling them all together here in Business Central. So with that, I actually ended with 1 minute to spare. So I'm going to give you guys a task or a homework. I want you guys to think about what you're currently doing and how you could make those improvements better. And then let's follow up and sync up with each of you. We recorded this and I'll be emailing you. But let's have a conversation about how Business Central and Keel and Company can help to move your operation forward and how you can use these tools. With that, it's 10:45. I wish everybody a great day. Have a happy Thanksgiving, safe travels, and thank you very much for joining us today. Cheers.
Thanks, Jennifer.